New retro is like a new game genre where it takes old style Super Nintendo, Nintendo, arcade, PC, back in the day type games, and the concepts that made those games so great, and it makes a new game that doesn't have the hardware limitations that we had back then. I've got 5 games that you need to play right now that I'm going to show you in this video, as well as some honorable mentions and some details. So it's kind of a should you buy, should you play, and why would you play type video. Although I can confidently tell you, regardless whether you like certain games or not, you're going to find some value in each of these games, even though some of these games are not just on a PC, Xbox, PlayStation, or Switch. They're even on your phone. There's many ways to play these. So let's get into it right now. Top 5 new retro, that's a thing I made up, but new type retro games that you should play right now and where you can get them on the rockAlot. Okay, the first one I'm going to recommend is an easy and a quick one. It's called DownWell. It's available for the PS4, the Switch, the Android, iOS, Windows, and the Vita. And the Vita. Damn. Anyway, this is a great game. At first, you're going to look at it and say, what is cool about falling down a well and trying to get to the bottom of it? Well, the thing about it, it does what every Nintendo or old school retro game does. It gives you this atmosphere and this vibe while giving you an arcade play style that you get better at. The whole point is to drop down the well, yes, but you gain power-ups, and as you go, you chain together combos. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's one of the most addicting little games I've ever played. You can try it with your friends, see how far you can get. Honestly, it doesn't seem like it's that complicated, but you unlock things as you go, and it has a massive replay value and skill ceiling. It's almost like those arcade games of the past where you try to get the highest score you can, chain together the highest combos that you can, and the controls are one of the most fluid controls I can talk about. Either way, I don't want to talk forever. Should you get this, it's only a few dollars. It's usually on sale. I think you can pick it up for like $1 sometimes, and no matter where you play it, you're going to love it. Try it out on your phone first, but either way, I think you should buy DownWell for PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, Android, iOS, Windows, and Vita. Next up. The next game we're going to talk about is what I would say is a souped-up Super Nintendo recreation of a zombie apocalypse, combined with the Oregon Trail in a traveling across the United States, controlling your pixel people with all these random situations happening. It's called Death Road to Canada, and as you see on the screen, it's thought of just about everything. As you get in the car, it uses randomized events for you to drive across the country. You're trying to get to Canada and I guess retire or something. I've played it a bunch. It's on PlayStation 4, the Nintendo Switch, Android, Xbox One, iOS, and more. They don't cut any corners anymore with these types of games, and I'm glad. I really recommend you give it a shot. For one, it's a pretty cheap game depending on what platform you get it on. And I love playing it on my phone because when you're bored and without anything to do, well, you should try if you can hit that death road and make it to Canada. And you'll find some secrets, some comedy, and some pretty cool gameplay along the way. Either way, one last time, Death Road to Canada on PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, Android, Xbox One, iOS, and more. The next 2 games I'm going to talk about are Risk of Rain and Risk of Rain 2. Risk of Rain is a 2D game that uses a very small little character, and then the enemies you come across are very big. But Risk of Rain 2 is set in a 3D environment, and it's essentially the same game, but upgraded to 3D. Risk of Rain operates like this. You pick from a starting class, you go in and fight a bunch of monsters. As time goes on, you can choose to take it as slow or as fast as you want. You got to find a teleporter and then get out and get to the next level. And there is kind of an end to the game, and you do unlock a bunch of new characters to play with. But here's the kicker. As you play, it gets harder and harder and harder until it's almost insane and impossible. And the game makes fun of you a little bit. You'll know what I mean if you play it. Items that you buy are what kind of customize your character, and some of the attacks, like by the time you max out your character, you will be doing some insane things. The cool thing about the characters is each one has a different style of tackling the enemies. So each of these upgrades, which there are so many, I can't even begin with them. Those upgrades completely change your playstyle, and by the end, you'll realize with each playthrough, not only are the levels, the enemy, and everything completely random, but your character and your class ends up being completely random also. It's one of the neatest concepts because it creates literally a different play experience every single time, from your character to your attacks to your weapons, all the way up. All I can tell you is you need to play this game. It lists Risk of Rain for being for Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Microsoft Windows, and even some other platforms, but Risk of Rain 2 is coming out August 11th from the beta into the main game. I really recommend this. This next game is Streets of Rogue. So imagine Grand Theft Auto, but based in a small little city. And you got to get from one side of the city to the other. You have objectives that you can complete to get like experience, level up, get more weapons, whatever. But the cool thing is you get a hack, you get to influence people, you get to create distractions, or you can just go in with guns a-blazing. There are so many different ways. They've thought of everything. You can talk to any person. You could do pretty much anything you think of, rob them, whatever. And it's kind of replayable because it's hard to get from one side to the other. They got a bunch of different biomes. I just can't recommend it enough. And what's the coolest thing here? Listen to this. They got it on the PS4, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, Windows, Linux, classic Mac OS, Macintosh operating systems, and more. I mean, good Lord. The only thing they don't have this on is the phone, and I bet they'll get it there someday. Anyway, it's just one of the coolest little games, and it's not expensive. And if you want to play something really, really awesome that is replayable and fun, hey, go pick up Streets of Rogue. Here at the end of the list, I could literally say anything. I could give you Dwarf Fortress. I could just give you so many games. But what I'm going to do is take games that I think are really cool or outside the box. This one is called Kingsway, and it's not the only one I'm going to give you. What it does is it emulates a computer. So you open the game, and then it's emulating a little computer, but it uses the computer windows to let you play an RPG. The thing about it is it's really fun. It's actually a really cool idea. I can't do it much justice just by telling you about it. It's replayable, it's really cool, bunch of different classes, bunch of random elements like the rest of these roguelike awesome games I've showed you. Just try it out and give a look. If you like the old school, let's say early retro computer games, this seeks to emulate it, and it does it in a really cool way. Anyway, the next one is called Hack/Loot. This game's been out for a really long time, and it gets a lot of negative opinions on Steam, but it's just because they say it's too hard. I don't think it is. I think it's really hard in the beginning, but once you play it, it has a potential just to be a really fun little game for the price that you just sit down and go through. Arcadey, I think that's what they're losing, the people that are reviewing it. It's definitely an arcade RPG. It's got a little mix into it. So check that out too, Hack/Loot. And finally, I'm going to shout out Dunge Greed. I don't know how to say it, Dunge Greed. It's pretty cool because it's a roguelike. It's completely random. Everything is. Basically, though, you unlock weapons and stuff like that to go through a dungeon and save a town. None of these games, I think, are really that crazy big, but they all have a different roguelike element that makes it replayable, fun, random, and really unique. So all I can do is tell you, pick these three up, or at least look at them and decide if you want them. Well, guys, thanks for watching my, 5 new retro reimagined kind of list here. If you like this content, you know what to do. Give it a like, leave me a comment, tell me what you think, and if you pick up one of these, make sure to come back and let me know what you thought of it. I'm UNIRock, hosted over here on the rockAlot, my gaming channel. Thank you for watching. UNIRock out.